secret to covering Micronesia's desire to switch to Taiwan is to focus on the negative, which is that there is a belief that the U.S. State Department might try to destroy this, right? Which is a negative thing.
Correct.
And then it's a fight. There's conflict. All the things that reporters need to cover something.
So what do you think should happen with this Micronesia situation?
At a minimum, the U.S. should not stop them from doing that.
Well, I think by not offering any support or not saying anything, that's effectively stopping it.
Yes.
I don't think the U.S. would probably publicly say that Micronesia should do it. But they could do something like how they let Taiwan transit through the U.S. You know what I mean?
Are you saying what they should do or what they could do?
No, I mean, I'd say at a bare minimum, I could see the State Department at least I don't see the current State Department actually being yes, Micronesia, do it.
Yeah, I mean, because there's two different ways to look at this. One is what's practical given the framework
hold on,
that
Matt. Let Shelley finish her thought about that.
No, I mean, I'm just saying that with the reality of the current State Department.
So what do you think that they could do? What is the equivalent in this case of the allowing Taiwan to transit through New York?
Essentially letting it happen and then being well, we don't tell other countries what to do with their, if they want to recognize Taiwan, they can do that. And China shouldn't make a big deal out of this. That's essentially what they said about the transit, which is this is normal. Mm-hmm. This is what happens. And if China makes a big deal out of it, they're
weird,
being aggressive
silly.
And shouldn't do it.
But they complain after bad things have happened. So there was that article about the hit, about Suidani working with the U.S. to put together a hit squad to take out Sogavari. And after it came out, Kurt Campbell said, it's all disinformation and shameful and that should, whatever. So I don't know whether there's a statement about Honduras afterwards, but the State Department seems to be good at, after the bad thing has happened, making a statement. But I wonder if this is sort of based on what I just saw happen with Suidani, whether maybe there should be congressional support. I mean, if their Congress people are willing to travel to Taiwan, maybe they're willing to support the switch.
And that's a great thing. The State Department is executive branch, Congress, legislative branch. It has power to check the other people.
So maybe the China Unscripted nation should write to your representatives
and tell them to visit the Federated States of Micronesia.
Tell them to support them in their recognition of Taiwan.
Right. I mean, I actually think that the U.S.
in the comments below.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to say, since we are recording this before we know about Daniel Suidani's getting his visa approved, we'll, in the pinned comment, we'll have the update on that because we should know by the time this comes out.
Yeah. But
which hopefully will be a positive one, considering the context of what we've talked about.
It's already positive because people in Congress put their necks out. But I would also say, be the change, and if you want, I made it up. If you want Taiwan to have more maneuvering space diplomatically, and you think it should be recognized as a country, you've got a few weeks to make that happen. I'm serious about it. Let people know that's what you want to make happen. This is your opening. If you think this is important, if you want to change the narrative, China's been very good at that psychological warfare, that inevitability narrative, we're just going to lose countries one by one by one. Down to 13, it'll be 12, it'll eventually be 0. So you don't want to be the last ones because you're not going to get the payout that you're going to get as we go down the line. But that shift it to, if you truly care about your country, if you're willing to be the democratic leader that you were elected to be and protect your country from the rapaciousness of the PRC, you can switch to Taiwan and have that buffer of security acknowledged. Then you need to let Micronesia and Taiwan become diplomatic partners.
And then that beacon from that shining city on the hill can take the candles of the fire and spread it out to all the nations and peoples.
It's like that torch that you used to sort of scare off a lion or a coyote or something. That's
what world are you coming from?
Rural Quebec. You haven't been in.
Were there a lion? There's definitely coyotes. Yeah, I just learned that there are 229 members of Congress in the Congressional Taiwan caucus.
Wow.
So if your member of Congress is part of that, write them a letter and say, what are you doing about Micronesia?
Or maybe call them.
Yeah. I'm 150 years old. Send a telegram.
I worked as a
pigeon.
I worked as a congressional intern. We have to record all the calls. Like we have to take record of everybody who calls, even the people who call and are crazy. And they call every week to talk about the same crazy thing.
Can we put a link to is there like a website that has where you can call?
Like Google your local congressperson and you can.
But how is somebody supposed to know something like that?
So Shelley, what makes them the most nervous?
What makes them the most calling or writing letters? I think calling. Yeah, like it just
talking to another human being. This is why we use Uber and Grubhub, so we don't have to actually talk to another person.
I mean, it could take them a while to get to your letter.
Yeah, that's true too.
True. Yeah,
and the House or the Senate, both. What's better?
Oh, I worked for a representative, not a senator. But obviously, senators have more power. But I imagine their offices are harder to influence.
So do we think this is a good idea, though? This insurrection, this democratic insurrection to spread the flame of freedom?
It's the opposite of insurrection. It's literally doing what our government is designed to do. Like
getting people involved. It's civics. It's like 8th grade civics.
What is this revolutionary thing you're doing?
Calling your congressperson?
Trying to get your congressperson to represent you? How dare you?
Yeah, calling them for something other than getting tickets to the White House tour. Like, yeah.
Oh, can you get tickets to the White House tour that way?
You used to be able to. I don't know what happened since COVID, but
what else can you ask for?
Well, you can actually. This is pretty useful if you're having problems with the passport office. Like you've put in your passport for renewal and it's not coming back. You can actually call your local congressperson's office and they will help you with that.
Fascinating.
Fun fact. So I've been on the Hill recently, completely unrelated to absolutely everything we've been talking about. The offices are open again. So so you can just walk in and go and knock on your congressperson's door.
I mean, if you're
I would recommend
visiting
I didn't
DC.
send you, but if you want to see the buildings, you can go.
I mean, you're not gonna. You're only going to be able to talk to the intern
to
the
the
receptionist, but
But nonetheless, like if you're
on tour in Washington, it's kind of fun to do. The buildings are beautiful.
But also, even if you talk with your congressperson's staff, like they're going to take a note of what you say, and they also have influence over what the congressperson does. And so it is the staff's job to also represent you.
Bring candy for the staff. They work really hard and don't get home much.
Let's be the America the rest of the world wants us to be.
Needs us to be. Needs you to be.
Yeah, because you're Canadian.
Yeah. I need you to be, please.
I mean, I do think this is brilliant in a way because you cannot really affect the State Department, right? Yeah, like unless you're Biden or
the only way to affect the State Department is voting for the guy in charge of the executive.
Yeah,
right.
So that comes every 4 years,
right? You can embarrass the State Department by getting your congressperson to stand up for what's right, even if it's in opposition to the State Department.
That's true.
Do people still write letters to their local newspaper?
Are there local newspapers?
I was going to say, let's first talk about local newspapers.
Yeah, but I think the congressperson's a great idea.
I really am.
Facebook.
Post a video on TikTok.
On MySpace.
Oh, MySpace. You.
Tom will help me. He's my friend.
Yeah, he is my friend. Yeah. He's my only friend.
Oh my gosh.
Him and the paperclip.
Yeah, let's
Clippy from my.
Clippy.
Oh my gosh.
like
Well,
this is like proto 2006, but
Cleo.
Does anybody still use Eudora?
What? I've never heard
Eudora?
that word.
Okay.
No, we so you know how like our podcast, when it's just the three of us, goes way off the rails.
There was this moment where we were so close to having a beautiful end to
About
this
democracy,
podcast, about democracy,
hope and the
beacon
light of
on
freedom.
the hill, light of freedom.
If
And now
anybody
we're talking
knows,
about Clippy.
yeah, if anybody knows how to run Eudora on a Intel chip, let me know. This was like the best email software from the 70s. It was really
It's pre-email.
old. Yeah,
It's so
it was
old.
no, okay, it was from the 90s, but it was really good. Software was better back then.
They had the original Oregon Trail. I mean, that's a great game.
That is a great game.
There's nothing that's even come close to that.
Thanks for
Mormonoids?
watching China Unscripted. I'm Chris Chappell.
I'm Shelley John.
And I'm Matt Canesta.
And I'm 150 years old.
Thanks for joining us, Cleo.